The year is coming to an end.
It's another 3 more days to 2024.
Oh my gosh.
So what's a better thing to talk about than what the year has taught us? You're listening to
Jom Sembang, Malaysia.
Okay lah. So I actually was thinking every new year we also talk about new resolution lah, blah 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 blah. So I wanted to bring us back to this. For me lah, there's this whole, what you call that, before COVID, and post-COVID.
Okay.
And then I would say that this year is probably the year that it stabilizes. Because last year there's still in between like some hike lah, and then you got a bit of like suddenly got certain restriction. So I feel that we didn't really go back to a proper new routine until this year.
Yes.
So I would consider this year like the new routine or the new post-COVID season begins.
So there was
BC,
DC, and now it's...
I don't know. Post-C lah, PC.
PC.
Okay, so yeah. So after 2 years of pandemic, this is the 3rd year, and then we finally stabilize and enter the new normal, whatever new normal is. I think it'll be quite interesting to also just reflect back and look at what changes that have happened in our life and that we want to keep or we want to get rid of. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, so maybe I shall start with, I think for me, looking back, right, I think the COVID season, the pandemic season really turned me into this hermit.
Okay.
Like a really, really bad hermit where
She was already a hermit kind
I was already hermit to begin with, right? But last time, right, I would actually still meet up with friends occasionally, like maybe for dinner or stuff like that.
Okay.
And I would actually meet up with my family quite often, like maybe bring my mom to run errands and stuff like that. But after COVID, right, I have this I just don't want to leave the house feeling. Even though I know it's safe to leave the house now, like can you imagine, I still ordering my groceries online.
Wow. Okay, I'm not.
So for me, my biggest change was really my social life.
Okay.
It's like if it was before this, it was an introverted social life. Now it's like a
Even
hermit,
more?
recluse kind of life. And I don't think it's a very good thing because I start to feel that looking back, right, maybe during the pandemic, we care so much, right? We always ask people, how are you, everything okay, But it comes to this year, right, I just feel like I just shut down. I don't really care what everyone's life is going on and everything. I don't have that patience or that heart to go ask, how are you? And like, I keep to myself. Unless a person reach out to me, I rarely reach out to people this year.
Do you think you are kind of still recovering, or is it just a season? Because do you remember when we talked about COVID? I don't know on this podcast or another podcast, but we were saying how when it shut down, everybody was very free. Remember they were making what coffee, was it?
Yeah, I was very busy.
Yes.
So
and
for me,
we were
right,
very busy.
So I had my busiest time or highest social time during the first pandemic
Exactly.
year.
When everybody was shutting down, we were doing content and we were doing help, production, tech help and everything. So do you think it's because of that now you need to recuperate from that?
Yes and no, in the sense that maybe the first 3 months is called recovery lah. But after 3
1
months,
year is
it's
a bit long,
like
right?
a bit long. And I feel that I have this problem where, for example, you know how friendships are kept, right? You meet each other, you catch up, you know what's happening in your life and yada yada. So for me, after not doing that for a period of maybe 2 years or something, when I finally meet my friend again, I'm a bit too lazy to explain how I got to where I am now from the last time we left the conversation.
Right.
Or like, because it's not like last time. You don't talk for 2 years. It's like, I'm still in my job, I get married, that's it. Okay, now it's like, during COVID, I lost so and so, and therefore I So everybody has this major change.
Yes.
And then sitting down there and talking about the change or explaining how we got to this point is a bit of a tiring thing for me. And then I was thinking, don't need to explain, I just go. But when I go, if I don't talk about it, they treat me like the OG now. But I'm no longer the OG now. You get what I mean? And then I get tired. Then I say, all this social thing is tiring. I just don't want to go and meet and then try to like, either have to choose between smile and be my old self or be my new self, and they just go something wrong with me. Because I didn't share my journey with them. It's not their fault. It's just that sharing the journey takes so much that I'm like, can we just start from scratch? So I'm at that point where I realized that this year, I prefer to make new friends. I don't have to explain from the beginning, like, this is me now, the new me, you see me, and then we just start from here. I'm at
Right.
that stage of my social life right now lah.
Interesting.
So I can't tell whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. But looking back, I realized that if I have the social energy to make new friends, but not keep old friends.
Okay. I suppose mine is different. I am okay with the old friends because I suppose my life hasn't changed that much, you know.
You still don't buy groceries online
No, but I bought groceries online
during the pandemic.
COVID,
So
the
like yeah,
pandemic.
I'm just saying that things that didn't change after the pandemic.
Yeah. I think what has changed is the level of going out for me. Not say going out. Okay lah. Before and now, last time I memang don't like to go out. Like, you know, leave the house even, you know, right? I'm like, okay, really? Do I really have to go out? I don't know if it's gotten worse, but I think post-COVID, there has been a new kind of weekly structure in my life. Well, my mom's helping at a cafe in PJ and I live in KL, right? So I kind of put all my social meet people thing on those Tuesdays and Wednesdays, you know? And it's actually become very simple for me. It's like a new thing. And if people say, oh, want to meet, somehow most people who want to meet, they're kind of like in PJ area, I don't know why. And I just put Tuesday, Wednesday. If packed, then sorry, next week. So that structure is, I find, really helpful. But in terms of traveling out, I haven't really gotten back to that momentum of what used to be before. And I'm not complaining. I'm quite happy with that because even without that, right, I somehow feel like this year has been so many things happening at the same time. I think the world's been trying to catch up.
That's also true.
And remember when we talked about the to-do list in that episode? You know, I tried to slow down and then suddenly you realize, oh man, it's all
But that's the
again.
interesting part. So I recently supported technical support as a technical support for a Writers Fest. And I've taken a break from the writing scene for a while. Okay, so the writers came like, oh, Gina, I haven't seen you around. And I was like, yeah, just taking a break. Then the guy paused and said, after the pandemic, take a break. After the pandemic is go, go, go. You know? And I'm like,
but we were going during the pandemic, ma.
So yeah, so I think the world is opening up very fast. But I feel like the world is trying to go faster. But at this year, I'm trying to go slower. And it's a contra opposite.
Yeah.
Which is creating a little bit of friction in my life, so to speak. Because you don't know whether, hey, am I being lazy? Have I lost the drive and stuff, you know? To chase, because not even chase, to just function normally, you know, while the world spins like 10 times faster now. So that was something that I'm really looking back at this year, you know, before I start 2024, because I don't want to have 2023 repeat in 2024.
Right.
Like if I feel like I've been lazy, I don't want to feel lazy in 2024. That's why I'm looking back at all these things lah. Yeah, so I think for me in 2024, what I want to try to do is rebuild my routines because I feel like the pandemic really changed our routines every 3-4 months.
Yeah.
So having, like you said, just not a routine lah.
Yeah.
So building a routine that actually work for me at this current pace that I want to be. Like, no, I don't want to be super fast. I just go lah. I'm moving, but I'm not floating and stagnant lah.
Okay, so let's talk about restructuring life after this break. Today's episode is in support of the YWCA KL's brand new initiative called the YWCA Community Oasis. If you would like to be involved in greening up a space right in the middle of downtown KL, reach out to us on social media, YWCA KL.
Just say, I would like to green the place too.
Yes. Okay, so Gina, you said you want to restructure lah.
Correct.
How? I mean, it's easy to envision how you want to restructure. Doing it is. Would you say it's like a resolution, or how do you plan to?
I don't know. I just want to change the way things are this year and not have the same thing next year by not being too comfortable in the things that. You know how sometimes, right, we know something needs to be changed and then we just go like, tomorrow,
yes,
and then it's 1 year, right? So I'm trying to pinpoint what I want to change and make that change. Of course, you said next year is like, well, why must wait for a resolution to do it? When you're in this sluggishness, having a goalpost is actually very helpful.
Lah, right?
Correct. So like for example, I've been feeling there's so much workload, but yet not. And I think this year there's a lot of physical fatigue that I need to catch up with. Like if you listen throughout the year, you will know that my family has gone into the hospital.
Yeah.
And then not one at one time, two at one time for 33 or 30 over days. And for me, like, that family part also means that workload have piled up.
Yeah.
Your physical fatigue has piled up. Your emotional bang and everything has all like no more power bang. So it takes a while to catch up. For me, I think the biggest thing that I learned this year is I'm tired of catching up. I don't want to catch up. I just want to start from scratch.
Okay.
Because catching up is tiring, whether it's with your friends or just catching up with yourself and everything else. Just making sure that things are no backlogs are very tiring. So yeah, I think for me, I want to start the new year with a new thing lah. I don't care this backlog, delete.
Delete ah. Okay. For me, I think I want to really space things out. Again, it's something that I've tried to do this year. It has worked a little bit. So maybe this year is like a trial run, after COVID, and then what do we want to do and how to do it. This year has been that for me. We've tried quite a few things. Maybe we started the vocal fest again, but we kind of tried new stuff with it, and also it's a restructuring of the way we do things and what we are doing as well. You mentioned your hospital spate.
Yeah.
So I also went hospital first time this year, right? And
she always sounds so happy about it.
Yeah. Achievement unlocked. But that has kind of taken a toll on my fitness routine, What started for me during COVID was exercising at home.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's a good thing necessarily, because previously I would actually go to the gym and do weights and stuff. Well, not a lot, but some weights. And then during COVID, didn't want to go gym because quite jijik, right? It's like I don't know want to touch or not this surface. There's a lot of sharing of apparatus. So we went and did a lot of those YouTube stuff, and there was one online coach YouTube thing that I really, really liked, and that became my go-to. The problem with that is it's just cardio. Right? And then at some point I realized it cannot. I need the weights thing back. But I haven't gone back to that. And then I got busy. Middle of this year, and then I went operation. And then it's just somehow it hasn't become a priority anymore. I did maybe once or twice since the operation, but that's like terrible, right? Once or twice. And it's really, really something that I feel I need to get back to lah. Also because I can sense, when you pass a certain age, right? You kind of need to replenish the energy. I remember when you're teenager, it's like the energy is boundless. And then in 20s, it's still not bad. You don't sleep and you're still okay. And then you pass 30 and it's now you kind of need to replenish with exercise. Body gets even more.
It's very different. It's like when you're younger, right? You can go without sleep a day. Yeah. Now you cannot. It's the same concept in terms of not just sleep, but in terms of your stamina, your concentration, your focus, and 101 other things.
And I think this year I realized how I really, really need to take care of my health, because not the operation, but during COVID, you were, especially for freelancers, and we talk about this as well, how in the entertainment world is very different from the office world, where if you get sick and you take MC, life goes on,
Correct.
The work can go on, or you can work from home. For us, if you're performing, and me as a singer, there were a few times this year, even last year actually, where I get the cold, and the cold now, it sticks even worse.
It sticks longer.
And it really, 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 really takes a toll lah. So for me, it's for this next year, I really want to take care of health. And you know what? Now wearing mask is not a
big hoo-ha.
It's not a big hoo-ha
Last time you wear a mask, you said, what's wrong with you?
And so now I think there was once I went to an event and I forgot about the mask for that particular one, and people were singing and everything. And then I came back with the flu. It hit me I couldn't sing I felt I couldn't deliver the best lah. And I'm like, if only I had just worn the mask. So I think just being a bit mindful and okay lah, people look at you funny is also okay lah. But I need to take care what is my cari makan lah. So like that lor. For me lah, that's what I want to do lah.
Cool. So moving on to the new year, we hope that you just take some time to reflect because the world is changing, is still changing.
Yeah.
And sometimes we just float with the change without really reflecting on it.
Yeah.
And then it will reach a point where you will realize this floating with the change thing might not work out long term lah. So it's good to just sit down, reflect a little bit on what kind of change we want to embrace, what kind of change we want to reject, and then move on with it. Because with the world going faster and faster, spinning faster and faster, taking a break to just reflect is very important.
Agree. Jom Sembang Malaysia is hosted by two Malaysians who are passionate about Malaysian stuff.
Stay tuned every week for a brand new Sembang session with Cerita Suito and Gina Yap Layung.
Today's episode is recorded at Studio 2105.
Remember to click like and subscribe for the brand new episode next week.